In this video we're going to give you a short introduction into the Recruit Complete pipelines, show you a little bit how they work, so that in the subsequent modules we're going to have some context around how we configure them to meet your specific requirements. But essentially, if we have a look at our jobs, and we've got different jobs, temporary jobs, permanent jobs and so forth, but this is the concept of an onboarding job. If I look at my onboarding job, it has a pipeline process that we follow. These are called stages. Candidates are assigned to particular stages. The assignment to the stage can be manual, dragging them through the stage, but it can also be automated. So for example, one of the questions we ask in the candidate registration may be, are they a citizen of the country in which they're applying to work in? And if they're not, then we place them into a right to work check stage, and then there are certain actions that take place when they appear in that stage, likewise with reference check, induction, accepted and so forth. So these are the various stages, and we can see in this pipeline the individual candidates and where they sit in a given stage. So let's just have a look at how we configure these pipelines. We do so in here, and we've got this example down here, and I'm going to show you in a future video how we set this and created this pipeline model. But for the moment, this is a stage. They come into the entry stage, they go to registration, right to work, as I showed you just recently. Now if we look at the registration stage, what happens is we've identified that an assessment is required to be completed by the candidates. This is the candidate application form. So let's have a look, because that itself is configurable. The candidate application form is a user definable form, where you can create one or more questions and look for different answers, and depending on the answers direct them to certain processes. For example here, are you an Australian citizen? If you say yes, we're going to take you to triage. If you say no, you're going to go to a secondary question. We're going to ask you, are you a New Zealand citizen? If you say yes, great, triage. If you say no, you go to right to work check. So there's a very quick view of some power in the system where no matter what the responses are to particular questions, you can direct your candidates into a particular process as you see fit. So let's just sort of have a look at this, maybe working in a live example, so to speak. So imagine you're in your candidates, you've received a candidate application, well, not necessarily an application, you've got a CV that they've provided, so you want to add them into your system as a potential candidate. So you will parse their CV. So we'll go and parse, and we'll log Bryce King. Document is successful, brilliant. Do we want to onboard this candidate? Yes, we do. So we select which of the pipelines, onboarding pipelines, we want Bryce King to enter. So we go save. Now his record is created. We've got his education history. It's scanned the CV. It's pulled out licenses, certificates and skills, references. So it's created the base set. You can see here we've updated the document, and this is now the candidate that has been created. The candidate themselves will have received an email, and they can then link and complete that assessment. But if we just have a look back at our pipeline for the moment, we can see that our registration has gone up. And we'll see now that our candidate Bryce is sitting nicely in the registration phase. There's Bryce. We can actually view his attachment here, his CV. We can also view the application form that he has been sent to complete. So through his email, Bryce has received the email, and then will complete the application form. And then, as I said before, depending on the answers to the questions, certain things will happen. So there's an example of the candidate application form happening directly because the candidate has entered a pipeline stage, and then the automated processes will continue. So essentially what's going to happen now is we take Bryce through the process. Bryce will complete his registration and move right through the process, and all of the automated things will happen. So if we look, for example, what happens when he arrives in the reference check status, we are going to ask them to complete. We're not going to ask the candidate to complete, but we are then going to do a questionnaire a reference question where we will ring the referees and we'll go through the process of updating the reference check. Again, automated when the candidate enters the pipeline stage for reference checks. Likewise, when they get to the induction stage, we can then ask them to complete their induction. And in this case, we've got please download the attached plan book, tax details, payday, super funds, emergency contacts, doctor's practice, and I'll get rid of that because that's not really relevant. So there is a very quick overview of the pipeline model. You can create any number of pipelines that you want. Here are some examples, and I'm going to deal with the specific differences between these three defaults that we create for you. For each pipeline you can add statuses or stages, and then you can create the various things that you want to happen. And if you want them to complete assessments, or if you want them complete reference checks, you can create any number of different types of assessments and different types of reference checks depending on the positions that you are employing. But there very quickly is a example of the pipeline stage working in Recruit Complete, and in the next range of videos we're going to show you how we created them, and then it will start to make a lot more sense. Thank you very much.